News from the Borderland. This is EPAS Unleashed.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to EPAS Unleashed. I'm your host, Jessica Navarro, and today we have a very special guest.
Hi, guys.
Another Jessica, our volunteer coordinator. So today, obviously, we are going to be speaking about volunteers, all things volunteers. And in April, it is National Volunteer Appreciation Week, so we're definitely going to touch on that.
Awesome.
So starting off, Jess, can we get a little bit of an insight of who you are, why you started working here, and how long you've been here?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, for the audience, of course, my name is Jessica. Prior to this, of course, I was born and raised here in El Paso. I did graduate from Burgess High. I did attend UTEP as well, where I graduated with a bachelor's in multidisciplinary studies. Prior to this, though, I came actually from our Parks and Rec department, working in the aquatics department. So back then, I was a lifeguard. I was a head guard back then. Pretty much, again, like I said, 3 years ago, when like COVID did start, they did shut down the pools. We really weren't considered like essential back then. It wasn't a priority to keep the pools open. So in order for us to kind of like stay on and kind of like, keep our jobs, they ended up bringing us over to the shelter. And back then we actually acted as the volunteers for the shelter itself. So, throughout my time here volunteering, I got to see a whole different side, not just the aquatics lifestyle, but of course, the animal, lifestyle that came into it. Back then I loved volunteering. I saw it as I'm getting paid to walk these dogs. And not only am I going to get paid to, interact with dogs, love on them, walk them, but, back then I kind of saw it as a fitness journey for myself,
Yeah.
I was losing a little bit of pounds,
So a good thing.
So it was a good thing. I was clocking, I was tracking, I was putting in 8 to like 15 miles a day just by walking these dogs. So, not only did I see that, but it definitely turned my mindset around. I pretty much took a whole 180 and, there, thankfully was a position that was open. The way that I saw volunteering, even if it was just taking out dogs for like 5-10 minutes, I saw myself making a difference in those dogs' lives. The next day that I was here, you see the dogs get excited pretty much. And, next thing I'm pretty much here, luckily a position was able to open up. I applied for it and now I'm here as the volunteer coordinator.
And you started off as a volunteer specialist, right?
Yes, it's about to be 2 years that I started off as a volunteer specialist. Again, the position of the volunteer coordinator came up, so I did apply for it. And, luckily with my experience and everything, I was able to get that position as well.
Yeah, and for a long time you were by yourself. When I got moved to the marketing and public engagement team, it was just us in that room.
it was just us. I was, just in there by myself, and then you came along, and then luckily we did expand our MPEP team and everything. So I'm luckily to be able to also kind of, jump up a little bit and becoming the coordinator.
Yeah, so there's a good thing that came out of COVID is that we got you as our volunteer coordinator because you're really great. All the volunteers love you, so
I love it. I love this job so much.
Yes. And speaking on volunteers, how important are volunteers here at El Paso Animal Services?
Pretty much, I think our volunteers are really important. Kind of going back to what I was saying before, like when I was a volunteer, noticing, you're working with these animals, you're working with the dogs, you're working with the cats, taking them out for 5 minutes, taking them out for 10 minutes, you are seeing a difference. You are letting them cope with being less stressful here in the environment. Again, this is a shelter environment. Our pets here can sometimes be a little bit stressed out.
Yeah.
So, taking them out for just a couple of minutes to even just use the restroom, taking them out for a walk, you are letting them, kind of be a little bit more comfortable with that setting. So the way that I felt, and I think our volunteers is, of course, they play an important role because not only are they giving our dogs and our cats too a chance to just kind of, be a little bit stressed out, but there's so many tasks and areas within the shelter that we can definitely benefit from those volunteers.
Yeah, I mean, they help us out so much. Unfortunately, we don't have enough staff to take every single dog out because we are so over capacity. So they definitely play a vital role. About how many active volunteers do you have?
About every month, we see between 130 to possibly 200 of our active regular volunteers. Of course, we do have to consider like groups that come out, maybe some one-day projects that come out, of course, our rescue runners. So that can kind of add up at the end of the month. We can possibly see 500 or 550 volunteers monthly.
Awesome. And there are a lot of regular volunteers that we see pretty much every day. They come out, and even like you said, if it's 5-10 minutes, they're making a difference in that pet's life.
Yes, definitely.
Their day, even if they get that 5-minute potty break, it's gonna make their day much better than being in their kennel.
Exactly.
And so, say somebody wants to become a volunteer, how do they go about doing that?
So if anyone does want to become a volunteer, what we do is we would just ask them to visit our website, of course, elpasoanimalservices.org. We do have a volunteer tab. If they are looking at our website, they'll go ahead, click on that volunteer tab. Once they're on that volunteer page, it's pretty much going to show them a process, a step-by-step process on what to do, the steps that are needing to complete that process. Basically, we ask them is to fill out a volunteer application through our My Impact, our volunteer portal. They'll go ahead, they'll fill out a volunteer application. They're giving us a little bit about themselves to us so we can kind of review their profiles and everything like that. Once they do submit a volunteer application, they do need to reach out to us so we can either have them come in for an orientation, a volunteer orientation, or they can actually watch that virtually through their My Impact app.
Okay, so they have that option to do it at home in the comfort of their own home, or if they want to do it in person, like you said.
Yeah, we kind of get about, half and half. Some people prefer to come in person, get that orientation through, in person, or, maybe someone's, lifestyle is a little bit busy due to work, due to school, and they have the option just to watch it at home. We give them that option as well.
Yeah, and I think that's really, great that we do it both virtually and in person, because a lot of our volunteers, they do work and they do have a lot going on at home. So having that virtual option is really great for them.
Really beneficial for them.
Yeah.
And then, of course, after they do complete an orientation, then they would just need to reach back out to us. If it is in person where they decide to do an in-person orientation, they will just take the tour right after. If they do choose to do a virtual orientation, they would just need to reach out to us so we can go ahead and schedule them to come in for a shelter tour.
Okay. And then after they do the shelter tour,
we'll go ahead, we'll bring them in before the shelter tour actually begins. We'll go ahead, have them sit down, fill out a couple of forms that we do eventually send in for like a background check. We show them how to use their My Impact app, and then after showing them how to use the app, we'll go around and take them around the facility, kind of show them the different departments that we have around, and different tasks, different areas that they can help out volunteer-wise as well.
Okay, and that volunteer orientation, can you go into a little bit of the details of like stuff that they will learn about in that orientation?
Yeah, pretty much with the volunteer orientation, whether they are watching it virtually or in person, pretty much they get to see a little bit more than just volunteering itself. Not only are they learning about the volunteer program, but they are learning about the shelters, our vision, our mission, our values that we have here. They are also learning about our other different life-saving programs that we have, whether it's our foster and adoption program, our CAPS program that we have, our operations. They get to learn a little bit about our medical, operations that we have. So while looking through the orientation, learning about it, they are getting a little bit of a feel for different areas that we have within the shelter.
Yeah, and I think that's really important because later on, if they're volunteering, they can kind of jump around, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But that orientation is a really in-depth orientation. It has a lot of good information there, and it'll teach them, like you said, about each department in case they have any questions, because a lot of people don't know, and when they volunteer, they learn with that orientation, but also hands-on, getting involved in each department.
And like not only that though, volunteers, a lot of people think it's just walking a dog or,
Mhm.
playing with the cat. By learning with these other different life-saving programs that we have, they can know what other areas need the volunteers
Yeah.
and where we could possibly place them too.
Yeah, because I mean, every department really needs help.
Yeah.
So if they are in tune with every department, then they can kind of jump around every day that they come in or whenever they come in if
Yeah.
we need them, in adoption foster, maybe we're having an event or, stuff like that.
Yeah,
So it's really,
definitely.
really important. And there are different levels of volunteers, correct?
Yes. So what we have three different types of levels. Of course, once you first start, we do ask our volunteers to at least work on 5 hours of support services. Basically, support services just means non-animal handling tasks. Tasks pretty much include, helping us with laundry, helping us, wash some dog bowls, cleaning our dog parks, of course,
Yeah.
passing out treats, toys, enrichment items, things like that. And then once they do complete their first 5 hours, that's when we'll go ahead and bring them in for their animal handling training.
Mhm.
So once they go through a training, again, we have three different types of volunteers: a level 1, a level 2, and a level 3. Pretty much to kind of complete each level, our volunteers just need to complete 25 hours within each level. And of course, we would want our volunteers to make sure that they're comfortable.
Yeah.
We don't want to push our volunteers to do something that they're not ready for yet. So
Mhm.
some of our volunteers actually like to knock them out pretty quick. Some volunteers will take their time completing those hours.
Yeah, and I mean, safety is a big thing that we look out for our
Oh, yes,
volunteers. So, I
definitely.
mean, when they're leveling up, we're doing it for a reason. We don't want to just throw them to the cages that have a
Exactly,
couple
yeah.
dogs. We don't want to just like, okay, there, you block these dogs.
Exactly, yeah.
So when they level up, they go through a training. They learn how to do things properly and safely.
They will go through trainings through each level, or level 1 training, a level 2 training. They get to learn different techniques on how to leash up the dogs, how to harness them correctly, little tricks, techniques and everything like that. Depending on the certain area within the shelter, we do show them how to properly enter the kennel or how to grab a dog out of a cage or crate, things like that.
Yeah.
And then once the trainings are completed, for those that do like to, stick around after the training, we do go ahead and, set them up, and we'll go outside and practice, taking out those dogs until they get comfortable enough to kind of be by themselves.
Yeah, and you do a really great job of, even if they are at a certain level, maybe they haven't been with us for a while, and they come back in and they're, I need a little refresher.
Yeah.
You'll go out there and you'll, help them
remind
out.
them of the steps and everything, how to properly, grab a dog, handle a cat, things of that sort. We'll do.
Yeah, and I mean, even volunteers that have been here for, I mean, even staff too, sometimes there's just that dog that is really hard to handle.
Exactly, yeah.
So you're really great about going out there as soon as they call you and they need your help. You go out there and you help them out. So safety and these trainings are definitely very thorough. I mean, I've been in those trainings when you're giving them, and it has a lot of good information. Even being here for a year, some new tricks that I learned when I watched your orientation or when I was listening in. So it's a really thorough process to become a volunteer, but it's worth it. I mean, these volunteers, they could work here. I mean, they in essence they are
actually
kind of.
did have some volunteers, started off volunteering maybe for a year or two, and actually we have seen a couple of them turn into staff members as well. So some of them do kind of progress in their career path like that as well.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking on that, what kind of requirements are we looking for volunteers?
Requirement wise, we do accept any type of volunteer to come in. We do have an age range requirement as well, though, which is at least starting off as a younger kid, a child. We do have the ages of 8 through 13 where they can go ahead and volunteer. There is a program that we call our Kitty Reading Book Club. Usually around that age, that is pretty much the only thing that they can do at the time. Not only are they able to volunteer and handle our cats and learn about like body language and behavior, but they are also practicing their reading skills by reading to those cats.
Yeah.
So there is an age range, at least starting off 8 to 13. For our shelter environment, shelter volunteering, we do require 14 and older. 14 and older can go ahead and volunteer. Around the ages 14, 15, 16, though, we do ask parents to become a volunteer as well with their kids. A little bit 17 and of course older, you can pretty much volunteer on your own time. Requirements, of course, having like the physical, the cognitive, capabilities, the capable essentials, things like that. But we welcome any type of volunteer. It doesn't have to be something specific. If you are more of a cat volunteer, we definitely need more cat volunteers. If you like to focus your attention more on the dogs, if you are good at customer service and you actually want to do a little bit more of the clerical work, the office work, we welcome any type of volunteer to come out.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot of different roles, like you're saying. I mean, they can jump into different departments that they learn about. If they don't have to stick with a certain task,
Yeah.
I mean, you in the trainings and being the volunteer coordinator, you can kind of direct them and let them know, what, this is what I need done today.
Yeah,
If you feel
yeah.
comfortable doing it, can you help me out with that? So those roles, can you speak a little bit more about the different roles that we have?
So different roles that we do have, of course, we're going to have our volunteers who prefer dogs, our volunteers who prefer cats. When it comes to either or, walking them, giving them a little TLC, a little bit love, caring for them, going around and maybe just helping us clean the kennels, providing an enrichment item for them, providing a treat for them, same thing with our cats as well, cleaning the cages, the runs, all of that. So those are two things that we can do. Again, kind of going back to our office environment, clerical work, customer service, from being a door greeter to working alongside our foster and adoption staff, either, answering callbacks, voicemails, emails, things like that, or even just being out here with our adoption staff and pretty much kind of like showcasing our dogs out here.
Yeah.
If a customer comes in and they're interested in the dog, we have our volunteers out here to kind of take out that dog, take them out here to the park and just kind of showcase off, that
hopefully
pet to that
get
customer.
them adopted.
We have plenty of opportunities when it comes to events that we have that are a little bit offsite. We have offsite events where we go and take our adoption van. We'll load them up with some of our potential adoptable dogs. Volunteers, they can go out to these events and help out. Same thing, pretty much helping out our staff, showcasing those dogs as well. We have rescue runners that go on. We have one-day volunteering going on. We love groups to come out as well, definitely. We also have what we call a pet scout. So this is an opportunity where you don't necessarily have to come to the shelter to volunteer. You can actually volunteer from home. Basically, a pet scout is, pretty much being our little private investigator, I would sort of say. And, we see a lot of lost and found pages on Facebook. We see a lot of lost and found, dogs and cats, kind of pinpointing those lost dogs, those lost cats, and maybe hopefully seeing if maybe they're actually here at the shelter and kind of doing that little investigating and, hopefully trying to reconnect that family with that pet that's possibly lost.
Yeah. And also, you kind of touched on fostering, but also fostering a pet can also give them hours as well, right?
It does count as hours. I know we do have some volunteers that they are required to complete a certain amount of hours, and some of our volunteers actually do foster, which does eventually grant them, a certain amount of hours, just depending on the type of animal it is. If it's, a self-sufficient dog or cat that can kind of take care of themselves, or maybe like a puppy or kitten that needs to be fed basically every 2 hours.
Yeah.
So just depending, they will get awarded some hours for it as well.
And they can get community service hours for that.
Community
right?
service hours as well.
As community service. Okay. And can we speak a little bit on rescue runners? Because that's a big,
my favorite
program. Yeah,
yes.
I know that you love waking up on Sundays, even if it's very early. You love waking up and coming out to catch the rescue runners. So can you speak a little bit about that?
So our rescue runners, they actually did start before I started this position as well. I believe that they have already been in existence for the past couple of years. I know that their main thing was to try to help, shelter dogs, cope with the stress of being stuck in, of course, a shelter environment. So again, just like I said, many of our pets here, they are, kind of in their cages for long periods of time. So their program itself was to, let's try to get out all the dogs we can and let's let them enjoy a little bit of out time. Let's take them out for a walk. Let them just enjoy, the sun, the air, the breeze, just getting them a chance to get out of their kennels and cages. So rescue runners, of course, we see them every Sunday. We see them from 8 to 10 every Sunday. And it's just not only a chance for maybe a single walker, but they encourage groups to come out. They encourage families. one or two walkers that prefer to walk by themselves, but they invite the whole community just to come out here and walk the dogs that we have here at the shelter.
Yeah, and the more volunteers that they get to sign up on Sunday,
The more dogs get
the
out.
more dogs that
pretty
get
much.
out. Yeah, and I mean they do really great, and you don't have to run. You
don't have to run. Don't think that you do have to run the whole time. I know that what we call it a mutt mile, it's a whole mile that they do need to complete. A lot of people are thinking, oh my God, do I have to run this whole time? We welcome any type of walker. If you are a runner, that's awesome. If you're a walker that wants to casually just walk with them, we prefer that also. We welcome it. We do invite, again, like I said, groups to come out, community members, single walkers, families. So if you and your family are not too busy on a Sunday, you're more than welcome to just join us every Sunday that we do have our rescue runners.
Yeah, and I know everybody loves rescue runners because the dogs, they know every Sunday. You can tell they're out looking out their kennel and
you
they're
see
just
them
waiting.
kind of popping their heads, overlooking in their kennels. They know it's rescue runner time.
Yeah, and that's why I encourage everybody to come out, every Sunday if they can, or whenever they can, because that way we can walk that whole area, and we don't have to miss any dogs. I know that a couple times, even staff will see a dog that, oh man, like they're not going to be able to get walked. Let's take them. Let's just take them. And definitely, I can't run that mile, but
and at the end, it feels good just knowing, we took out a whole section.
Yeah,
these dogs are good. As soon as we start to bring them back, and once we're starting to kind of close up shop a little bit. Yeah. Quiet. Complete quiet. They enjoyed it. They're now taking their naps. They loved it. So that's like the good feeling about that.
It's definitely every Sunday is like a feel good seeing all those dogs, quiet and just they enjoyed their morning. They got their exercise, and even some of them, they don't even like doing the whole mile, and they're like done after half a mile.
Exactly.
And they're ready to go back. But it's great to see the rescue runners go out there and every Sunday they're pretty much here every Sunday, rain or shine. They're out here.
They are,
they're out here
and that's just
us.
a group that we definitely appreciate. We love them to death. Like you said, also rain or shine, snow as well. They're here. They are an amazing group.
Yeah, and we've done the mudathon. Which, can you speak a little bit about the mudathon? Because I know a lot of people love the mudathon.
Okay, so the mudathon. So think of our rescue runners, of course, every Sunday. Usually, we will typically see on Sundays, 30 to maybe 75 people, and maybe taking out one or two sections of our dogs. So our mudathon is 5 times as big. Basically.
Yeah, it's all hands on deck.
Our hope with mudathon is to take out every adoptable dog that we can possibly take in every section that we do have them. So it is a chance for us to, of course, invite the community, open it up to more participants to, come out and help walk a dog. Usually with our mudathons, I know last year we did see over 500 people participate in one of our mudathons, which was such amazing. It was so awesome to see that many people come out, in support of walking a dog. So again, mudathon is pretty much just it's a big event that we do have. It does take an all hands on deck where we do have a lot of volunteers help us out and some of the staff members as well. And we'll usually just have our the community, pretty much line up. We'll do all the pulling out for them. We'll go ahead and leash the dogs for them. We'll harness the dogs. We'll hand them out to the community members, and they'll go ahead and just walk them on that mile.
Yeah, and that's awesome. The mudathon is always, a great thing because, like you said, not every single dog gets to go out every Sunday. And you do a pretty good job of like switching, sections and stuff. But this is everybody gets to go out, and it's great.
It's
to
so
see
awesome
all the dogs.
to see them. And then, just like I said too, after the end of the event, you hear nothing but quiet.
Yeah.
They all got their walk in. They're all good, which is so awesome to see.
Yeah, definitely. And can we talk a little bit more about one-day special projects? Maybe they can't make it out on a Sunday with rescue runners, but they could definitely come in for like a group project.
Yes, so with our one-day, group projects, this is an opportunity for any type of group to come out. I know in the past we have seen, groups from Walmart come out. We've seen actually the El Paso locomotives come out. We've seen the Chihuahuas come out as well. So it's just a chance for any group. doesn't matter what kind of group you are, just any group to come out and participate in either a dog walking event, or maybe we need more help within the shelter, passing out treats, passing out enrichment items, a little bit more of like the beautification that we can see, cleaning our dog parks that we have, going around and poop scooping, things like that. So there's plenty of tasks rather than just walking dogs.
Yeah.
If you are maybe a group that wants to focus more with our cats, we have cat opportunities as well.
Yeah, and I mean, we have cats at the zoo also, that's open
exactly.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's definitely another option for volunteers, in case they're more of a cat type of person. And we also have a vet science program. Can you speak a little bit about our vet science program?
Yeah, so we do have a vet science program where we are actually partnering up with 5 different high schools. Those 5 different high schools include our Pebble Hills, El Dorado, East Lake, we have Clint, and we have a new school that actually partnered up with us, which is Isleta High School. Basically, these high schools that are coming in, they are part of a vet science program and a curriculum where their students do need to complete a certain amount of hours. This program itself, not only are we, mentoring them and guiding them, but they are focusing on their, career path, either to become maybe a vet tech, a veterinarian, maybe they're going into that animal science field.
Yeah.
So with them coming to our shelter, they're working on those hours that they do need to complete in order to get their certification to pass a CVA level 1 exam. And also kind of while they're here as well, they get to have like a lot of animal handling experience. They get to work with our medical team through surgeries. They get to learn about that as well. They get to learn about fostering and adopting. They get hands-on with our operations and providing for our shelter pets, cleaning their cages, their kennels, things like that. They get to learn how to microchip, how to give vaccines out. They get to, also learn about, of course, customer service, clerical work. So they kind of get a little bit of everything volunteering here at the shelter.
Yeah, and we have a curriculum in place for them, that they are following in order for us to, make sure that they reach that certification that they're trying to strive for. And it's a really great program. I mean, I wish that was around when I was in high school, because I definitely would have done that. I mean, they learn so much.
They really do, yeah.
Yeah.
And we actually, which is pretty awesome, is we have a lot of our volunteers that have passed their certain hours, and some are actually going taking that extra step to complete their CVA level 2 certification as well too. So even though some of our students do complete their required 300 hours, we still see them stay on as a regular volunteer as well.
Yeah, and I mean, they're really great in the surgery room, and I mean, microchipping, they usually help us out with those mega clinics that we do, and they're fast. I mean,
they really are. Yeah,
I watch them and I'm like, oh man, you guys are faster than me. So
they are really good. Yeah.
Yeah, they're I mean, awesome, and definitely it's a great partnership that we have with these schools. Because they get to go into the medical. They help the medical staff a lot.
Exactly, yeah.
Because they obviously have so much to do with all the animals that we get in. So having that extra person there to help them out is
definitely
is great.
It does help out our medical staff too.
Yeah.
And of course, like we said, they do get to learn more of more of the medical setting as well, the surgery setting as well, how to perform, the tools necessary that they do need. So they do get a lot of hands-on experience, which is really awesome for them.
Yeah, definitely. And Volunteer Appreciation Week is coming up.
Yes, so excited for that.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure you want to take some time to express your gratitude towards all the volunteers that come in, because I know you love them, and you take care of them. So what would you like to say to our volunteers?
To my current volunteers, I just want you guys to know that you guys are all amazing. We appreciate, not only do I appreciate, but this whole staff, our whole shelter appreciates everything that you guys do. I want you guys to know that your hard work, your dedication, your love for these animals, it does not go unseen. We do notice it. We do very much appreciate everything that you guys do for us. You don't have to be a regular volunteer that comes in every single day. Even if you're here just once a month, you're taking that time to come out and work with our animals, and that is something we definitely appreciate for you guys. Appreciation Week is coming up next week, and I can't wait to celebrate with all of you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they do so much for
They
the
do
animals. You
everything,
know, they take time out of their schedule. I mean, I'm sure they're just as busy as anyone else,
Yeah,
and they still
exactly.
make the time to come out here because they care about these animals. They
They
care
do.
about
Uh-huh.
you know our mission. They're trying to help us out, and it's just amazing to see them out here.
It is, yeah. And I don't know if, I mean, I'm pretty sure you've seen it too. We do have a couple of volunteers that are regular volunteers that come in the morning, and they'll spend a good 4 or 5 hours trying to take out as many dogs as they can.
Mhm.
We even have volunteers that will come in the last 10 minutes that,
Mhm.
you know, before we close, and they'll just go and check on maybe the cat areas or our dog sections. Like,
Yeah.
we have those dedicated volunteers. And again, like, we greatly appreciate everything that they do here.
Yeah, and I mean, we get a lot of military volunteers in as well, and they dedicate so much time to the shelter, and you know it's always sad to see them go when
It
they
is,
move
yeah.
on, but
Uh-huh.
I mean they keep in contact with us
They
because
do, yes.
you know they become one of us. You know, they're like a staff member. They're like family to all of us.
Yeah, they're definitely family for us.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And would you like to say to somebody that maybe wants to join, you know, our team, wants to start volunteering? What would you like to say to
If you're
them?
on the fence about it, I just encourage you to even just try it out. You know, you don't necessarily have to be, you know, we do encourage people that love animals. You don't necessarily have to, you know, be a diehard, you know, dog lover
Yeah.
or cat lover. Again, there's more opportunities than just, you know, walking a dog or playing with the cat. We do have a lot of tasks, a lot of needs throughout the shelter, whether it's clerical work or, you know, office setting work, customer service as well. So I do encourage anyone who's thinking about volunteering to just apply. You know, check it out, come in for a tour, schedule a tour with me, and we'll go ahead. I'll take you around, show you the different areas within the shelter, show you, you know, pretty much different tasks that our volunteers can pretty much help us out with. You know, even if it isn't just a regular thing for you, maybe just a one-time opportunity, check it out at first. I pretty much encourage anyone to come out and volunteer.
Yeah, and I mean it's not for everyone. It is, you know, very hard.
Yes.
Sometimes seeing, you know, the animals, but just spreading the word too is
Yeah.
a great way. You know, supporting our mission and everything. Maybe you don't have to be a volunteer, but just spreading the word. You know, if anybody is
exactly.
looking to volunteer, you know, hey, this is what I saw when I went there. You know, it was too much for me, but you know, maybe
You know,
it'll be good for
maybe
you.
it'll be right for you. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, and anything else you want to say about volunteering?
You know, again, like, I just encourage anyone, either whether you're on the fence about it or you do actually do want to, you know, come out and volunteer, check it out, come volunteer. Again, it doesn't have to be, you know, a regular type thing. It can be once in a while, you know. I encourage groups that hopefully watch this and they do want to volunteer, come out for a one-day project, you know. And then, of course, going back to our regular volunteers, you guys are all amazing. We thank you guys so much for your hard work, your dedication here. We truly love you guys. You guys are all awesome.
Okay, awesome. So I just want to say thank you, Jess, too, because the volunteers wouldn't keep coming back if they didn't have such a great leader. You know, you help them no matter what. You sometimes don't even take a lunch, you know, because you're out there helping all the volunteers. So I'm sure that they appreciate you as much as you appreciate them. So thank you so much for your hard work.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. So that concludes our episode. We hope that you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and you know, sign up to volunteer with Jess.
Definitely.
And we'll see you next time.
We'll see you guys.